The reason we only stock D'Addario strings is because D'Addario strings are perfect.
When people come in here, they think that we get them for free or something like that, but we don't. We have no other reason except for dependability and tone.
Hey everybody, I'm John Bohlinger with Premier Guitar. I'm with Jim James of My Morning Jacket. Jim, thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
God, I love that. It reminds me of like sci-fi from the 60s and 70s. My favorite sci-fi.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
That's like Logan's Run now. Hey, tell me about this guitar. It's like a very Sister Rosetta vibe.
Oh,
Tell
man.
me about it.
Gosh, yeah, her vibe, I mean.
Yeah, right?
I mean, yeah, it's kind of inspired by that. This is actually a Jimi Hendrix, what do you call it, signature model or whatever.
Really?
That came out a couple years ago.
Huh.
And it's that really cool Murphy Lab custom shop aged, thing.
Yeah.
And I always thought I always wanted a white SG with 3 pickups.
Sure.
Like that's something that was on my wish list.
Yeah.
And I had never found one or whatever. And then I found that on tour, I've always had my Flying V, which is great, but I discovered that in our set lists, I needed one more solid body Gibson to do all the changes that I had to do, because I was kind of only using that one.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of hollow bodies and stuff. So I found this guitar, but I've noticed immediately that the middle pickup, I kept hitting my pick on it and dropping my pick and stuff.
Right.
And I had never played, and then I understood why most people don't want 3 pickups.
Right.
And it was really cool. We just ripped the middle pickup out, and I love just how fucked up. And there used to be a bridge here,
right.
And Dwayne ripped that off and put a stop bar tailpiece. So it's kind of a cool Frankenstein. I love when guitars look like they've just been like beat through, just like.
Well, and it's all been done in a practical application.
Yeah, because we were like, I didn't know this too about when there's like a trapeze tailpiece, it makes the guitar a little more tinny and treble-y by nature. I didn't know that, so we removed that and put that here. And now I really love this guitar. It plays so well, and it's so fun to play.
Yeah, and it looks so cool.
Yeah, it's so cool, right? Yeah.
Nobody else has that guitar.
Right, yeah. I know, it's so cool. I really love it.
Yeah, okay, well that's cool. So is that kind of your new favorite on tour? Or
no, I don't really play favorites.
The V,
oh yeah,
you've done some high mileage.
I love the V, yeah. That thing, you want to see that?
Yes,
okay.
I do, yeah. All right, so yeah, this old battle axe, this actually predates My Morning Jacket, right? Have you had it for?
No, I got this in '99, I think, kind of right when the band had started. And it was kind of a similar thing where I had, the only guitar I had at the time was a Gretsch hollow body. And I found that a lot of the super rockin' things, I didn't know, how hollow body will feed back or whatever. Yeah. So I needed a solid body guitar. And it was again like a vision kind of thing. Like I always saw a wood Flying V with a mirrored pick guard. Yeah. So I went to Mom's Music in Louisville, and I had to order this. They didn't have it, but this is a 1998 guitar.
Oh, so
and
you
I
got
it
brand new.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so all of the damage inflicted on this is all of my own.
Oh, yeah.
So this thing, I love this thing so much, and it just plays so unbelievably. And I had to order I had to trace and order the mirrored pickguard myself.
Oh, really?
And this is maybe the second or third one because they've gotten broken a lot.
Yeah.
And there used to be a mirrored thing here, but that got broken a lot too.
Yes.
And we put some different pickups in it. It used to have like the exposed coil pickups, but I'd kind of, lots of sweat and stuff would get in there.
Sure.
But yeah, I love this guitar so much.
Yeah, that is great. And it's, you know, it's in hearing you play it, it's just a very thick, almost Les Paul-y kind of sound.
Yep.
Because sometimes, I don't know, I mean, like SG's a little bit smaller, you know, a little, doesn't have that whole, but that thing, man, it's got all that big growl. Yeah, very cool. Do you remember what kind of pickups you put in it?
Oh man,
Or imagine there's probably been some stuff.
Gibson sent us a couple, and we kind of listened to them and thought about them and stuff. So I can't remember what exact one, but they're from Gibson.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
in the family.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Let's so let's look at a couple more. How many are you touring with?
I usually have about 10. I think there's about 10. That's all that fits in the road case.
Yeah.
And maybe we've got a couple more, but I don't like to bring too many because it just gets kind of overwhelming.
Sure.
Yeah.
How often do you change? Like just depending on the song?
Usually
or?
every tour season. We're actually debating a couple different ones right now if we're going to bring them or not. And you kind of, sometimes it's fun. I don't know why just certain things occur. You know, like one will just be like, bring me. You know, it'll put its hand up or whatever. You know?
Sure.
There's the ones that never leave, like the V or whatever.
Yeah.
A couple of my 335s that are always in there. But then sometimes there's a couple different Gretsches I have, or a couple things. A couple weird guitars.
Yeah.
I've got a really cool, do you know Scott Baxendale? Have you heard of him?
No.
He's a great guitar maker that takes old, just kind of what you would consider as kind of junk or pawn shop guitars, and he'll take them and restructure them and put new pickups in them and really rebuild.
Do you have one of those with
I'll
you?
bring that
Oh
up.
yeah, let's see that weirdo.
So this is cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is Jimi.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so Scott Baxendale, he was in Athens, Georgia, and I think he just moved somewhere. I haven't been to his new shop, but this, we went to his shop to just check it out, and this was just laying in the corner in a pile. He had like a pile of old crazy guitars, and I saw the Jimi headstock.
Oh,
I was like,
had
is
to
that
do
one?
it, yeah.
I was like,
It's
he's like,
literally got my name on it.
I know, it's so cool. And so he fixed this up and put these really beautiful knobs on here, and he put some really great pickups in there. I wish I could remember what they were.
What model is this?
I have no idea. Somebody
It's
like
like a
made
weird
it.
K or?
Yeah, it's probably some kind of K or Harmony or something.
Wow.
That somebody handmade that
Jimi.
Jimmy piece of plastic or whatever. You know, it's just so, I couldn't believe it.
So Jimmy, if you're out there and watching this,
Thank you.
say something in the comments. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's cool.
Did he put this on his?
That was on there.
Oh,
Yeah. So this
really?
was all. The pickups weren't in there. Those were just open, but everything else, he really did a lot of great fret work on it and interior bracing and stuff like that.
Wow.
He's really got a great thing going. I've got another guitar at home that's like a kind of like a 50s parlor guitar, but it's kind of just a cheaply made kind of Sears Harmony thing. But he kind of opens them up and does the bracing inside and puts whatever electronics you want and stuff in it. Really, really, really cool.
How cool.
Yeah,
'Cause
Scott
those
Baxendale.
old guitars that would be, kind of discarded or junky. Yeah, that's out rocking.
He brings them back to life.
Wow. And you know that Jimmy had to be like a performer. And that was like,
totally.
yeah, isn't it great?
I know. I wonder
it
what
goes
the story
on.
is. I know.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, that's cool.
You want to see my signature guitar?
I do. Yeah, absolutely.
So I was so lucky to make a signature guitar with Gibson. This is the Epiphone version, but it's similar look. And I wanted to just make something that was very, very simple, just like a dark wood. Because one of my favorite guitars that I'd always seen was a 335 from the 70s that was just kind of a walnut finish, no sunburst or anything, And I was talking to Jenny at Gibson, and I was like, how come y'all don't make that finish anymore? And she was like, I don't know, it just hasn't been around for a while.
Right.
So I just kind of wanted to make like a real simple guitar that hopefully anybody would like, even if they had no idea who I was or cared who I was. And this, the Gibson and the Epiphone are very similar. They've got these witch hat tuning knobs and just a walnut finish and a thin neck because I've got pretty bad carpal tunnel. So I like pretty thin necks that are easy
Sure.
to play, and cool waffle back tuners, and yeah, and the Epiphone is unbelievable.
Oh,
I mean, it plays so great. They're in a really good period
Yeah.
right now at Epiphone.
They're doing amazing work.
Yeah,
They really are.
it's
Yeah.
really cool. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's great, man. How cool. And it's cool. What I like about it is, you know, the Gibson signature, great guitar, but pretty expensive. It's nice to have something that like anybody with
Yeah.
a little, you know, can
So cool.
can have, and have a true pro, like touring worthy instrument.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
cool.
Okay, tell me about that up there.
Oh yeah, so this is cool. This is a cymbal that I found out on a wooden telephone pole in front of my house. It was
Really?
just stamped on there, and I didn't know what it meant, but I thought it meant like transcend all barriers or whatever, because it shows like this arrow going through this cross, you know?
I
And
like
was
that interpretation.
yeah, I was like, and I kind of took it to be my personal symbol. And I asked my dad, who's an electrician, I was like, do you know what this symbol means? And he's like, oh yeah, he means that's like, don't climb any higher than that, because like the pole will break or whatever, you know. And so I thought that was cool too, because like you literally can't climb any higher than this point on the guitar, you know. It's like,
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I just really love that symbol, and yeah, for me it was just inspiring. It was just like, keep going further, you know, keep
Right.
going up, you know, like don't let the X stop you, you know, keep going.
That is
And the
very
circle around
cool.
it all. Yeah, I really like that.
Okay, I love that. Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. Okay. Let's look at a couple more. Okay, the first Fender in the lineup. Let's hear
Yeah.
about this thing.
So yeah, I mean, obviously Fender, you know, it's like I've always been mostly a Gibson guy, but then there are those times where you just need a Fender. You
Sure.
know, you just need to rock. And one of my dreams in the heart of the pandemic was I really got by on a lot of Rolling Stones, and I had seen the Stones before the pandemic, but you know, deep in the middle of the pandemic, I was so lonely and so depressed, and I'd be talking to my friends and be like, if we can make it through this thing and see the Stones on the other side, that'll be the greatest victory, you know. And so we did, you know, we
great.
saw the Stones several times, and you know, it's like this classic rock and roll telly, you know, that Keith plays is just like, I had never had one before, so I was like, oh man, like I was watching him play and I was like, I mean, the Stones are like, I don't play favorites, but sometimes I think maybe they're my favorite, you know, at least when it comes to
amazing.
rock and roll. I mean, it's just like,
Oh, yeah.
and I feel like they're so inspiring to me too, because I feel like they're proof that you can defy all conventions, you know, and age is really a myth that you can transcend as well, you know. And I think that like when you see the Rolling Stones, you're not seeing a bunch of has-been
Right.
old dudes. You're seeing
Right.
the greatest rock and roll band of all time, and they're just old now.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
But they're still so vital and
Oh,
so
yeah.
insane. And to see Keith just like, bah, you know,
Right.
just tearing your head off.
Oh man, when he's doing Honky Tonk Woman, it's just him. It's
unbelievable.
Just him.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Just him and a cowbell.
Yep.
And it's
Oh, so good.
perfect. Yeah.
So good. And I had always wanted one of these, so I talked to Fender, and this is a Fender custom shop.
Oh, okay.
So I asked him for I've always liked these kind of more 70s big
Yeah, the
headstock
big
necks.
headstock, yeah.
And because most of these kind of tellies have a thicker neck with the smaller headstock on it, you
Yeah.
know, the more traditional telly.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make kind of another Frankenstein that was had the 70s kind of thinner neck, and I put a couple hearts on there just to kind of make it more for love. You know,
Sure.
kinda, we're always trying to deal for love, you
Yeah.
know, like, and I just love this guitar. So, and Fender, the guy who's making it, he said they put these switches in. So they put these cool kind of mute switches in that mute and unmute the guitar, which is really cool.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you can hardly notice it. So that's really cool. That's really helpful for guitar changes and stuff.
Sure.
No.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, I love that. It looks like a total like old pawn shopper thrown together.
I know, right?
Yeah.
The custom shops at Fender and Gibson right now are so unbelievable what they're doing. You know,
Oh
just
man,
like,
those guys are artists.
because you could search forever. Like I went to, you know, stores kind of looking for something like this, but everything I found wasn't exactly right, you know.
Yeah.
And when I talked to them, they made it exactly how I wanted it. You know, it's just like so cool.
Yeah, that is very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really doing amazing work. Like
They really are.
It's got to be, I don't know, it's got to be a fun gig for them now that they've got the freedom to like dig into stuff like that.
So
you know?
cool. Yeah.
Okay,
You want
that
to
is
see
awesome.
another? I've got 2 Fenders on the road.
Yeah, hey, dealer's choice. Show me
show you
anything you want to see, I want to see.
So this is another cool
Oh, yeah.
custom
the
shop.
Telly bridge
Yeah,
on there.
I was asking them. I was like, do you ever do? Because I love when you're playing. Sometimes put your hand on the Telly bridge.
Sure.
You know, and like, there's something about the Telly bridge and the sound that I'd never seen a Strat with a Telly thing on it.
I haven't either.
And they were like, yeah, let's do that. And and I love again like the custom shop. Like I love white guitars sometimes, or like there's that. You know, like when Jimi played Woodstock or whatever, that white strip, it's just like insane.
That's the one, man. Yeah.
And so I wanted something that kind of felt like that, but with my own thing. And I also love the shell pink. So this is a cool finish because there's just like the slightest bit of shell pink in there.
Right.
But it's kind of more white. But this, and I asked them too to make these guitars really light for lots of touring and stuff.
Sure.
And a thin neck. And yeah. And
does it have the kill switch as well?
Yeah, this has a kill switch built in here that Dwayne put in. And yeah, I really love this one.
You love that. Yeah, total its own thing. I love it. Oh, cool. Okay, let's hear about this.
So yeah, this is a cool Gretsch that kind of like the Fender thing. Sometimes you just need the Gretsch flavor, you know.
Oh, sure.
And I think this is I want to say a '67. Wow. And our Carl's guitar tech was this guy Rocky Roberts, who was with us for a while, and he was really always having finding interesting vintage things and kind of bringing them in and stuff. And so occasionally we would buy something from him, and I bought this from him. And this thing just has a really beautiful, big, woolly, crazy sound. It's just real. Doesn't work for everything, but when it works, it works.
I love how they did the painted on F holes back then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Yeah, it's so cool.
And and you killed the mud switch so it won't, or you get.
Oh yeah, I would always hit that with there's certain things like when people put switches there or whatever, it's like I had to just tape them down because I would always be not muting it or knocking it.
It looks like a couple of drywall screws going.
Well, these things are crazy because all these they do these little mutes or whatever that you can do chugga 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 kind of country picking or whatever, and yeah, really fascinating. But I mean, I never used those things, so
wow.
Yeah, you could put little pieces of foam on them, and mute with them.
Sure. Okay.
But yeah.
Wow. Okay, that is great, man. Yeah, it's got some high miles on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, very cool. So, are you using any different tunings on some guitars? Or are they all?
Yeah, I mean, I use lots of different tunings. That's funny. This one is in a DADFAD tuning. There's a song called River Road that's on our new record, and this is tuned for that. I like alternate tunings. It's fun to just tune a guitar, just sitting there, tune it to whatever you hear, you know?
Yeah.
And just kind of find things. It's fun because you find new patterns or new shapes. Because I don't know how to read music or, I mean, I know like chords, I know what G chord and C chord is, but it's cool when you can trick your brain into making new shapes because the old ones don't work anymore.
Oh, right.
I love that.
Right, and I bet for songwriting, it's probably lead you to some very cool places.
Yeah, we've got a lot of songs that are alternate tunings. There's a song called Least Expected on our last record that was in this tuning as well. And there's a song called Tropics that's in a different tuning, and there's quite a few of them.
You said it's not Dad Gad, but Dad...
DADFAD.
Really? There's an F in there?
Yeah, I just kind of found it.
Go, wow. Okay, could you show me? it's funny that F makes it so much more kind of moody.
Yeah.
Like DADFAD is always kind of happy.
Yep.
That brings it to like a weird, moody place.
Yeah, that's the fun thing. I call it playing for God or whatever, when you just sit there and just kind of keep tuning, until you find a cool thing. Because I also like Dad, F sharp add or whatever.
Wow.
Kind of, it's
gives
just
you a little hope.
Yeah, it gives you a little more hope, yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, and that's so wonderful.
Yeah, that's great.
I love to think of, too, I love like Keith's tuning, the open G without the E string, just like all those songs. It's just there's so much, or Curtis Mayfield, the way that he would tune a guitar to the black keys on the piano.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
he had a totally, Curtis Mayfield, I feel like he's like definitely one of the greatest guitar players, most underrated guitar players of all time.
Man, I gotta dig in.
Oh
yeah.
God, I mean, just nuts.
Well, thanks, Jim. I will. I'm deep diving on Curtis Mayfield
get in
today.
there. Get in there for sure. Yeah.
All right, great. Well, hey, let's look at one more guitar and then go through this this massive pedal board here. All this craziness.
Cool. Yeah.
Oh,
this is cool.
All right, the Barney Kessel. Tell me about this thing.
Well, this is really cool. I found this in Telluride, Colorado.
Oh, cool.
There's a really great music store there. I think it's just called Telluride Guitars or whatever. And I've always admired the Kessel from afar, but I'd never played one. And they had one there that day. And I think it's a 62 or a 63. And this thing is just like, the thing I love about it most is the neck is so thin. And I love the giant headstock
Huge
too.
headstock.
And the way that they used to do that black point on the back of the headstock, so cool.
Yeah. God, look at that wood on the back.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, it's just like such a wild guitar.
God.
And this guitar is just so fun to play once you understand what it does. Because first I was trying to play it with tons of pedal, it was just feeding back insanely.
Oh, sure.
It's just like, and but now that I have the things that I use it for and I kind of understand more what it does, it's just such a fun, really beautiful guitar to play. And it really gives me a lot of relief during a set because the neck is so thin that it really gives my wrist, my carpal tunnel, a little bit of a break.
Oh, I bet.
So I try to strategize and put it in there sometimes.
Sure. It's such an interesting history of that guitar because Barney Kessel had like a K, had a couple different K models.
I remember those, yep.
And then he had this, and he never played any of them. And he was such a curmudgeon. He played this Gibson, I don't know, L5 or something, but he actually covered up Gibson with tape on it.
Wow.
Because I guess the endorsement thing didn't go well.
Right.
So he kept,
interesting.
It's like, okay, I'll play the guitar, but nobody's going to know.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But God, these are so great. That crazy double cutaway.
It is so cool. Yeah, because it kind of looks like an SG.
Yeah.
I like symmetrical guitars. I don't usually like when one side is different than the other. Like if it's a single cutaway or something. Something, I don't know why. I mean, occasionally like a Telly or whatever it works, but something about the symmetry of this. Yeah, it's almost like it's like the Devil's SG or whatever.
Horns,
it's like even more.
I didn't want to say it, but
even more satanic than the SG. It's like let's double down.
Yeah, it is totally more satanic than the SG. That's saying something.
Yeah.
Okay, Satan's favorite guitar.
Yeah. Definitely. You gotta make room.
That's great. Well, hey, why don't show us what you got going on? Actually, before we go into your pedal board, tell me about this crazy amp.
Yeah. So these are. This is like an old radar system.
Wow.
That I like the thought of repurposing instruments of war for love. I love it when things like that are repurposed, we want to bring love everywhere we come. So I like thinking of something that was used in some kind of military application to bring love, and that's a fascinating thing about a lot of audio gear. So much of it was made for the military at first because that's where the money is.
Oh, right.
So that's a thing that we talk about a lot is just how wonderful it is when instruments that were made for killing are repurposed for love.
Instruments of peace.
It's just like I think about that a lot. That's an old tube test kit from RCA. Like, I love how old RCA stuff looks. They've got a really great mic preamp called an Op6 that's maybe the best sounding preamp for ribbon microphones.
Oh, really?
An RCA Op6, just a fantastic and so beautiful looking. And then I've got this amp over here. I don't know if you can go back there. It's probably too dark, but there's a company called Three Monkeys from North Carolina that builds amps, and we use their amps. I've been using their amps for a while now. And this speaker cabinet is a Three Monkey speaker cabinet too. I like how weird that cabinet looks, and it sounds great.
Yeah.
And Ryan, our front of house, and Dwayne, guitar tech, they've switched the speakers out, and they're really good at helping determine a lot of things that I have no ability to understand. Like, I'm not good at the deep diving into like cables and speakers and you know, all of those kind of things. It's like so a lot of things I feel like I can barely wrap my head around. Like, Dwayne's gone through the pedal board and made it as optimal as it can be. You know what I mean? Like things like the power supplies and the cabling, because we have to do long cable runs, you know, all the way back to the amps, and that stuff's really, really, I'm so grateful for those guys.
Yeah, so you can just focus on making music and don't have to.
Yeah, there's so much science in it. You know, there's so much, like when you go to see a live show, there's so much that we don't realize that's happening behind the scenes. Of the pure mathematics and science of all the sound and the way it's being manipulated and the way it's being powered and controlled. And yeah, it's so wild.
Okay, Jim, you've got a bunch of stuff here. Why don't you just tell me about like some of your favorite little, I don't know, favorite.
Yeah. Well, so my first thing, again, this theme of War to Love. There's this Debbie Ever fuzz pedal that I found years ago that has bombs with hearts on them. You know, it's like, let's drop some bombs of love.
Oh,
you know,
that's
from
great.
This. And Debbie Ever's this really mysterious pedal maker from Portland, Oregon, and they I don't think they make pedals anymore. So I try to find this thing whenever I can. And it's called, sometimes it's called USA Fuzz or something like that. And I really like it because it's got a great gate on it. Oh. So it's the first pedal I ever found that I can play so loud with no feedback. Like the minute that you're done, it like grabs the thing. And a lot of pedals have fuzz on them and stuff, but a lot of fuzz pedals for some reason are very quiet, even when they're turned up loud. You know?
Totally.
And this fucking thing is so loud.
Okay.
And the gate on it is so insane, but you can never find them anymore. They're not.
Well, let's put it to the test. I want to hear it on this Kessel. See what it does. Let's see what kind of madness that is.
Let's see.
Wow.
See how I grabbed it?
God, I thought
So
that would just
cool.
be howling.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Wow, that's great.
I love that thing.
Because that's a true hollow body guitar.
Yeah.
I thought it would just be screaming. Okay, that's awesome.
And my other second favorite is the classic Boss Blues Driver.
Oh, yeah.
And they did like a Wazacraft series where they kind of did a little mod to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can tell the difference.
Yeah.
But
I looked at them too.
we were messing with it, and we put a gate on that too, because that thing will really take off. So that's kind of going through a gate to grab it. I really love the Spring Chicken reverb pedal is my normal use when I just want kind of a normal reverb.
Yeah.
To me, so far, it's the best sounding, normal sounding spring reverb pedal I've ever found. And we've done a lot of taste testing and a lot of research.
Let's hear a little bit of that.
Yeah, this is just, you know, just kind of just a. Just a kind of basic normal reverb, but there's something about it that's really special. And then the Ghost Echo is really cool when you want some more. A little deeper well, you know.
Yeah,
I like
love
the
it.
Ghost Echo.
Love it.
I love the Mellotron pedal. You got some cool. And I've got octave pedal. This I love those two together.
Yeah, that's a great combination.
Yeah, I love the Mellotron pedal. And then Universal Audio is making some really, really great pedals. I've got their Starlight delay that I use just for a quick slapback.
Sure.
And I feel like they're, gosh, some of the research that they do of like taking old pieces of gear and modeling them.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like their stuff, like Universal Audio stuff, all of their Apollos and the interfaces and all of the plugins that they make and stuff, it's insane.
Oh, yeah.
Like we've done on this last record, I worked with Brendan O'Brien and we were at Henson A&M Studios in LA and we were like, let's do it. Let's finally do it. Let's get, took 5 EMT 140 plates, real ones, you know, at fucking A&M Studios that are used on all the records, you know, like the real shit.
Yeah.
And we brought that up with the Universal Audio EMT 140 plug-in, and we were just like, we couldn't believe it. Like the Universal Audio thing almost sounded better. I mean, every plate is different because some of them are bright and some are dark or whatever. And sometimes that's great too, but I was just like, we all just couldn't, because we were using the Universal Audio plug-in and we were working on this song that was kind of slow and had a lot of space, and I was like, can we go over and just plug into all the plates and just see? Because I want to use whatever sounds best.
Good for you.
And I used to have my own EMT 140 plate that I had to sell when I moved. We had one for the records we used to make out in Shelbyville, a real one, because I feel like back then the plugins weren't very good yet, and most of them sounded terrible.
Yeah.
And but we were just like, oh my god, it sounds so good. So the Universal Audio, the delay is really cool, and they've got this Astra pedal that does a lot of cool kind of tremolo and phasing effects and stuff. I really like that a lot.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, the Universal Audio stuff is great, and I really love the Earthquaker Devices stuff. They've got this really cool. It's kind of like an envelope filter, but it does this weird thing. It's like scrambling thing that I really love.
Wow.
And that's just a Boss delay.
Jim, do you ever come up with stuff like that and never able to reproduce it?
Oh,
like,
all the
you're
time.
recording
all
something.
the time,
like,
yeah. That's the fun about improv and about playing live shows. Because most of the time when we space out or whatever, that's the whole goal, is just to not to become one with the universe, or to become one with God or whatever, and just forget about all of this bullshit for a while. You know, I think that's why we love seeing live music too. You know, it's like you come and see live music and you're just like, you can just, everybody goes into that space that we all come from, the wall of God, the pure consciousness that we all come from, that we try to label so many different things, and people spend so much time fighting over these things that we think are different, but we all come from this place that we can't understand as humans, and we're not supposed to be able to, or else we wouldn't come here. And the feeling of that, losing yourself. I mean, it's fun to write music and orchestrate music and execute it well or whatever, but it's so fun too to just let go of it all and just find things that are just floating in the air.
Right, or maybe they're finding you.
Yeah, totally, absolutely, absolutely.
Cal, that's great. Well, Jim, thank you. We're going to talk to some of your bandmates.
Great.
But I know you guys are fired up for this big tour, so have fun, man.
Thanks so much.
Yeah,
appreciate
pleasure.
It.
What strings are you running?
These are D'Addario NYXLs.
And the D'Addario NYXL.
But they're D'Addario strings, and I've been using those since forever, and I love them.
D'Addario strings as well.
D'Addarios.
Right.
D'Addario. I've been using D'Addario.
I'm a fan of D'Addario.
Started using these D'Addarios.
I like the D'Addario NYXLs.
These are D'Addario, and I got the NYXLs on here.
All right. right, now we're with Carl Broemel. Carl, thanks so much for joining us.
Of course, thank you.
Hey man, tell me about this Les Paul.
This came from the Carl Broemel custom shop. No, this is a Les Paul standard faded that I bought a while ago, and one night I got crazy with my paint pens.
God.
So a lot of people have asked me where this got finished, and it was at the Carl custom shop.
Great.
So I've been using this guitar for 10 years or something, and then one day I was like, I want to change it.
Yeah.
But
I love it. Boy, there's some high mileage on that thing. So you don't miss the switch at all?
oh, I took it out on purpose. So, and I mean, I left the pickup there, but that's just deactivated because I was accidentally hitting it.
Oh,
I
really?
use it for specific songs and never need the neck on this one. So
Wow.
I just
Wow.
simple is better in some circumstances.
Oh, sure. So what was the original finish? Was it like a...
It was like a honey color.
Huh, kind of a
It was
honey
pretty,
boost?
but I think I was just like a little tipsy one night, and I saw the paint pens, and I made one mark, and then it just kept going.
Oh,
So,
yeah. No, I
there you go.
get it. I love that, man. That's great. So is there, have you made any other modifications like pickups or anything like that?
No, this is all stock aside from the paint,
Yeah.
really. Yeah.
God, I love it. Yeah, a well-loved instrument.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So,
very cool.
this is
And
number one.
one pickup. Okay, great.
Yep.
Well, number one, very strong start. Let's see. Let's
What else
look at
we
the
got?
next.
I guess Les Pauls are my main guitar usually, what I go to, and this is the guitar I've had the longest out of anything. It's a 1988 Les Paul Standard.
Oh, how cool.
When I bought it, it was used, but it looked brand new.
Yeah.
I love this guitar because I watched it fall out of the back of a truck before, and it's still fine. It's really heavy, but all the relicking, all of the, like this little pocket, that's all me. This is all me, all this stuff. So, there's no way to replicate this guitar.
So you've had it longer than the band's been together.
Since like 1998, I've had this
Wow.
guitar. So, and then a bunch of different bands and tons of tours, and obviously, it's a bit of a tip of the hat to Neil Young.
Sure, love
With
that.
the Bigsby, I love having a Bigsby on most guitars. The pickups have all been swapped out a few times. I think this is a Seymour Duncan up here. I'm not sure what that is anymore. But yeah, constantly swapping out tuners, constantly refretting, just keep on going.
Oh yeah, after that much solid wear.
So
I
usually
bet.
this is, if I show up at a session or something, this would be one of the two guitars that I'd probably bring.
Great.
Just because I know it so well.
Great. What strings do you run on that?
They're D'Addarios. I do 10 to 52s.
Oh wow, pretty beefy on the bottom end.
Yeah, sometimes I'll do drop D, and some of the guitars have to have different functions, so it's just nice to have that lower gauge, be big.
And you seem to dig in pretty hard.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it's like our band has so much variety in the
Yeah.
sounds, and the dynamics can be, the most sentimental, quiet song to the heaviest, like
Right.
borderline metal moment.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to be ready for everything.
Right. Okay. Well, very cool. What's another one?
Okay. Here's something a little different. This is the fairly new addition to what I've
great.
been touring with. So my buddy Creston Lee in Vermont makes beautiful handmade guitars. He makes everything on this, as far as I know, aside from ordering the Mastery Bridge. She's got his own version of it. So on the previous record, I used my Silvertone U1 a lot.
Really?
And I got really into the lipstick pickup.
Yeah.
And so under here is a double Novak lipstick pickup.
Wow.
In the neck.
Just
so
concealed in like a humbucker.
Yeah, exactly. So it has that lipstick kind of feel, the kind of open, kind of hollow sort of sound.
Right.
Also, I've been on the search for lighter guitars, and this is a much lighter guitar than the Les Paul. A couple cool things about this that we decided. So for the neck pickup, a lot of times I feel like there's too much low end in the neck. So I had him do two things with the neck. Since it's two lipsticks, I can do this and just use one.
Wow.
And then I also have a low end roll off. So there's a lot of ways to kind of tweak sounds with this. If I'm using both pickups, I can integrate the front pickup in a couple different ways. And,
Sure.
and I think that this guitar sounds the best with everything on. and then roll off a little low end in the front, and it's like, if it just kind of sits perfectly.
Yeah. That's such a clever design idea, because that's always like the challenge, is to make the neck cut, but the bridge not be too high end.
Exactly. So this was an attempt to do that, and it's been pretty successful. And right now I have this tune just a half step down, and so I'll use it on any song that's a half step down, which we've got quite a few now.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the vibe here. But
wow. Okay. That's very cool.
and then so there's a couple personal things. My house is this color.
Really?
My home.
What color is that?
It's just like a strange blue, black. Depends on, the type of day. The house looks black or blue.
Oh.
And then my son's name is Basil, so I had him do a little basil leaf on the top.
Oh, that's great.
So that's, yeah.
Yeah, love it.
That's this one.
Yeah, very cool.
All right, this is the newest guitar to appear.
Yeah, it looks so shiny.
I have a
compared to
couple. I have 3 other Duesenbergs.
Huh.
I'm really a big fan. I started with a Duesenberg 12 string. That was the first thing. I was like, I need a 12 string that stays in tune. I just know it's going to be rock solid. So I bought that, and then my friend Nathan brought the Starplayer, and I took that on the road, and I'm like, well, I have to have this too. But this is their newest guitar, and it's a little bit more of like a Gibson scale. Currently I have it tuned to an open G, I think. Yeah. There's one new song on the new record that needs an open G tuning, which is new for us. So anytime there's a new tuning, I'm like, cool, I get to get another guitar.
Right.
I like to keep things simple like that, where it's just like, guitars have jobs.
Sure.
And then it's just easy to make any set list you want. You don't have to worry that this song can't go back next to that song. So, but yeah, I'm pretty stoked on this. I'm not super familiar with it yet, but just got it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So.
That is interesting though, because you're use different tunings and then play different instruments, the pedal steel, the sax.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're all over, you're covering a lot of ground.
I've bit off more than I can chew. No, I like it though. I think there are moments in a concert where the scene needs to change.
Sure.
And that even, I think the saxophone and the harmonica are kind of like two things where it's like, sometimes you just need to change the tonal palette. And if someone walks up there with a saxophone, the crowd's going to be like, great. You know what I mean? Like, we've had enough guitar already.
Yeah.
So to me, to be able to sit and move around really is fun.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting and the pedal steel is a giant challenge.
Oh yeah.
Guitar is a giant challenge too. But I think, you've probably played for years and years like I have. You get a little bored at sometimes. It's good to play a different instrument and be like, change your mindset, think about approaching chords or notes or anything differently, and then come back to your main instrument. So.
Yeah, I find that true with like steel. It really helped my guitar playing, made me think about things I didn't think about, like muting and things like that.
Right.
And all that, yeah.
Yeah, and even just how you tune it.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
So, and just I think guitar, when you play guitar for a long time, you start to fall into patterns and ruts, and like you're just going the same spots. When you play something like that, you cannot be like that.
Oh yeah.
There's a whole nother set of patterns that you can rely on, but it's just good to keep it fresh.
We did a rig rundown with Daniel Lenoir, and he had his steel there, and I don't even know what tuning he was using. I'm not even sure he knew what tuning he was using, but it was. I thought, God, this is how you do it. It was so free, and he just went wherever he went, and there were no patterns. It was just all melody.
Right, he's just sort of following the thread as he's playing.
Yeah, it was such a, it just kind of highlighted how cool that instrument is and how good it is at getting us out of boxes,
Well, yeah, and where the steel ended up as far as like your standard tunings, took a long time to get to that point.
Yeah.
And you could do whatever you want, really. You could change it. For me, I'm too scared. I'm like a standard.
Oh, me too.
I took some lessons. I'm like, show me what is up, because I don't want to mess this up.
Right, but now, you've been playing a long time and playing on other people's records and doing your own thing with it. So
yeah, exactly. And I've adjusted some of the levers to do things that are specific to me.
Yeah.
So I guess I've customized it a little bit.
Sure, and you've got 3 pedals and 4 knee levers on that?
There's 5, but I only use 3 of them. They're not even pulled down right now.
Okay, good.
So,
Yeah.
keep it simple.
Right.
I mean, my favorite steel player is probably like Buddy Emmons or Ben Keith, and I don't think Ben Keith used much.
No.
As far as knees, maybe one
That's
or
right.
2.
He did that Neil Young stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful player.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful.
And there's a song on our new record, I don't know if you knew this, we might have talked about it with the Premier Guitar interview that Jim and I did, but there's a new song called Time Waited that's got a sample from Buddy Emmons' Blue Jade. And
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if you've listened to the
I gotta hear
Emmons
it.
Guitar Company record.
Oh, sure, yes.
So the song Blue Jade is like, that mellow song in F. So Jim grabbed the piano part at the beginning and looped it and wrote a song. And he sent it to me, and I'm like, God, I know this. Yeah. Like, what is this? And I was really stoked that it was Buddy.
Yeah. God, that's great.
Yeah.
How cool. Okay, take me over to your steel. Let's take a look at that.
Okay. So what I've been using for a long time is this GFI Ultra. It's tuned E9, pretty standard tuning. And then I've got a smallish pedal board over here. I think the things that are most kind of interesting about what I have set up so far, there's a couple things that I enjoy. I've been using a little bit more of envelope filter over here. It's like my new favorite effect, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be fun to be able to use a wah pedal on a steel, but it'd be impossible. You're already doing too much, right? So the envelope filter kind of does that. It feels kind of expressive in a cool way to me.
Oh, totally.
And then there's a song from our previous record. There's not a whole lot of steel on our new record. I don't think I played it on anything that's on there. So this is all related to previous things. But one thing I figured out is that if you use an E-bow on the steel and just use one string, you can use a harmonizer pretty easily.
Really? Okay,
So-
I've never seen this.
So on a song called Least Expected on the self-titled album, I did 2 tracks of E-bow and like made a harmony thing that kind of like moved around itself. But for live, I was like, how am I gonna figure that out? Thankfully, the Eventide, I don't know what key it's in or what scale I assigned it to, but I figured out what notes work in the song. So it kind of sounds like this. So if you play in more than one string, it starts to fall apart. But if you stick, so that's pretty fun, right? I mean, it doesn't really sound like a steel, and I like traditional pedal steel. I love it, but there's certain times where it's really not going to work. Especially in the band context. Sometimes on a song like Golden, I played just a very simple, normal sound and just. It's real basic, simple, Ben Keith style steel. We were talking about Ben earlier. He's one of my favorite steel players.
Yeah, that's perfect, man. God, I love that. I love that you can go totally weird and then traditional.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a fan of all of that. I'm always trying to figure out a way to integrate this because it's fun to get to see everyone play and sit for a little bit during the show. Sometimes we play for 2.5 hours. So I guess sit down for a couple songs, have a drink of water, play some steel. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. And are you cranking that Princeton pretty loud behind you?
Right now, so that's a new Princeton reissue, but I'm using the Milkman as a head.
Oh, okay.
So I've got the Milkman, which is
that's just a cab, okay.
So I just kind of jumped into the speaker, and so if the Milkman had an issue, I could just use it normal.
That sounds great.
But I really like being able to grab things over here, and if I wanted to turn there's a tremolo on here or turn the reverb up, I just reach over and grab it. So that's kind of how I have it set up. And if we're going to fly to Europe or something, I can't bring it. I want to rent a cab, I'll just use this. It's the same sound.
Yeah, perfect. So when you're like fly dates, is it all the same rig that goes, or do you have a separate?
We try to bring most of the stuff. We really do. It's been really hard to, I think once you're in the ears, you're really under the microscope. So if anyone changes something, everyone's like, wait, what did you do? How dare you change the cabinet or even the speaker? Because you are basically putting your head right next to the speaker, so you hear it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're lazy in that respect. We like to bring everything most of the time. So.
Yeah, yeah. A little more work for the crew, way easier for you guys.
Yeah, exactly. If you want, I'll show you a couple more guitars, and then we can go through the pedal board.
Perfect.
Here's the lone Fender in the guitar vault.
The lone offender.
But I've really grown to love this guitar. Ordered this from the custom shop with the Bigsby, obviously, and I was like, if I'm going to make a black version of my main Les Paul, that's the Tele. That's what the idea was.
Yeah.
It's got a really thick, un-Tele-like neck. Like, you can check that out. It's a big one.
That is
I don't know. I just felt kind of good to have a little more weight to it.
Sure. The bridge is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I don't remember
what's going on there, but
I've never seen it on anything else.
Yeah.
But I guess that was their solution to keep things from sticking.
Huh.
So it slides through there. I'm not sure who Fender is. That's a Fender part, or what the
don't
hell
know.
they did.
I don't know.
And this is a humbucker, I believe.
Oh.
I can't remember what brand that is. Sorry.
So that is how it came to you.
The pickup I swapped out a couple times
Okay.
to figure it out. 'Cause
Yeah.
I've just never. When you have your guitar rig set up for Les Pauls and you plug in a Tele, it's like can be way far from what you want it to be. So
Sure.
it's taken me a while, but now I've found some rolls for this, which has been fun.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Beautiful. Now let's talk about amps and pedals. While you got this. So what amps are you running?
So right now I'm running 2 Car Slant 6V6 heads in stereo. They're just always on.
Oh.
One of them's going into a 412 cab, the Emperor 412, and one's going to an ISO cab.
Okay.
With just a single speaker in it.
But and they're running in true stereo?
Yeah. There's like a couple things that have a stereo effect.
Yeah.
That way there's always something running. If one blows up or whatever, then there's still an amp happening.
Yeah.
I did have 2 cabinets blaring on stage at some point, and then I realized I would watch people watching us from the side of the stage, and they're like, "Yeah, we could really hear you well tonight." It'd be like friends and family.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we could put an ISO cab, it'd be fine. I'll at least try it, even though I was skeptical. But that's actually kind of cool. It's kind of it focuses and combines with a 412 in a cool way,
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I'm sure. Now, are you all running wedges on tour or?
I'm doing ears. There'll be kick drum and some random sounds coming through that, but it's not like we're relying on that much.
Yeah, but for the most part, in-ears.
Yeah, doing the in-ears. I love the in-ears because I can actually hear what I'm singing.
Yeah.
No matter how loud Patrick is playing or I'm playing, it's just really great.
Yeah.
And to be able to kind of be conscious of hearing protection and after decades of being on stage, it's like it's a revelation for that. And I love being able to walk right up to Patrick and he can be hitting this crash cymbal as hard as he wants, and I'm like, great, go for it. Or before I would be like, oh boy, I gotta hide from that. So but yeah, that's how we're kind of going. It's a combo. I like some stages. If you're playing a stage that's all cement and there's no low end happening, you gotta like have some kick drum, and I want to feel it,
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this pedal board.
Okay.
What's all going on here? The mothership.
The mothership is recently built. So this, I've had a couple boards that's built up to this point. So this is like a souped up version of what I had last.
And XTS put this together for you?
Yeah, XTS here in Nashville built this guy.
Yeah, those guys are great.
Okay, so in front of everything is all this. So I've got this cool sustain pedal, the plus sustain.
Yeah.
It's really nice. I just love the way that feels.
Right.
And that way you can do kind of halfway is really nice. I don't run wireless. I want one less thing to worry about. So I do run a pretty long cable. So I've got a really nice buffer by 29 here. that I think really makes up for the long ass cable. So I'll click that on. And then I've got this Origin Effects compressor on basically all the time, just barely doing something.
Sure.
It just feels right to me. And then everything goes into the gig rig. And there's a lot of stuff on top here. You might not be able to see.
Oh man.
There's some stuff underneath.
Yeah.
So I've got a fuzz, a Fender fuzz, a Phase 100, a Jam Retro Vibe, Source Audio Spectrum, a Jam Tube Screamer, and the Durham Sex Drive, which I've used for years. And then up in front of I use this H9 for like pitch shifting and stuff. This H9 is basically for ambient stuff at the end.
Wow.
I'm experimenting with this. This is a really nice distortion the tube distortion by Kingsley.
Huh. The Harlot.
I think a lot of people use the Page. I've seen a lot of people using the Page. This is like a Page but with more gain. And I'm experimenting with having different distortion going to each side of the stereo rig. That's a work in progress.
Sure.
And then here's an analog delay by Jam that's really fun because you can store presets. And then the Maris LVX, which is like crazy powerful delay. And I'm using it for very kind of simple, normal stuff, just tape delays for now. The new Pog is great because it has a screen.
Wow.
so you know what you're doing. You can save all your presets and name them and integrate it MIDI to the Gig Rig G3.
Wow, that's the Pog of the future.
The Pog of the future. I was like hesitant to get it, and then I was like, man, just to have the screen and be able to know I'm on the right preset.
Right.
All that stuff. Because I do use octave effects here and there. This is the newest pedal I bought. The Chroma Console. Have you played through this thing yet?
No, I've never seen a lot of this stuff.
Okay, cool. So the Chroma Console, the guitarist in Nathaniel Rateliff's band was using one, and I'm like, how's he getting his cool phaser? It sounds so good. And I guess it's this thing. So it's a multi-effects box, but it's sort of set up like a piece of vintage gear where there is no screen. You kind of have to feel there's 4 different units. I could spend an hour talking about this thing, but I'm using it for very traditional stuff right now, like just a tremolo and a phaser. And the doubling effect, actually, the stereo doubling effect is really useful. On the new record, I did a lot of like clean guitars that I doubled and triple tracked. And Jim has been wanting to play less guitar sometimes, so like I'm trying to find ways to have a fuller thing behind him. If he's gonna set his guitar down, I kind of need to cover a lot of shit. So
sure.
I'll use the doubler on that. But that's the super quick rundown. There's a wah, there's a couple expressions. This one, just so I can like have a wall of reverb and then just pull it back.
Okay.
And this one is connected to the Pog, but I haven't even really used it yet.
Okay, since you've given us a quick overview of it, now could you just show us some of the key sounds you're using live?
Sure. Some of the newer things is using an envelope filter, but using it in a pretty subtle way. So I think on this sound, you can hear it kind of underneath, but it's blended. So the envelope filter is only on one side of the distortion, not on both. I'm a fan of that sound. That's pretty cool, right?
And what drive are you getting right there, or is that just
I run mostly I run clean amps.
Wow.
Just that way you gotta have control and you can go completely clean. There's been a lot of times where I need that variety. I need to be able to be super clean, giant guitar, and then heavy.
Yeah. So all the dirt is coming from. So what was that overdrive right there?
That was the Jam Tube Dreamer.
God, it sounded great.
Yeah, and the Spectrum from Source Audio kind of mixed together in a parallel way.
So do you have your gig rig set up for specific songs?
Right now, I just have 3 banks. The last pedal board I had 2 banks of, well, I guess there's 14 switches. So I kind of use it like a MIDI pedal board inside of itself. It's not like I put a set list in and like,
Right.
you know what I mean, verse, chorus. That I haven't gotten to that point. Basically, I have like bank 1 and 2 are all the songs before this new record, and bank 3, I'm trying to keep all the new songs onto bank 3, so I'm not like pushing through. It's like the idea is like, it's a complicated thing, but I want it to create a simple experience.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because in the heat of battle, you don't really have time to jack with all that stuff. You
exactly.
Just wanna play.
And then like since I have all this stuff here and not in a rack, if there's something wrong with the Pog or it's on the wrong preset, I can just reach down and put it where I want it, which I like. But I love being able to create like a big giant additive thing where I've got all the pedals going and I hit one pedal and it all goes away.
Right.
It's like, once you have that, it's kind of hard to go back to like, you know, turning 16 things off.
Yeah.
So that's the idea with this board. And I think it's pretty future-proof. Like as soon as I got the Chroma console, I was like, well, maybe this could have been a little smaller. But that said, it's like, I still like using there's some things that are analog that for me, I haven't found things that are as fun. Like for example, if I want to do a Leslie sound, it's more fun for me to do a real retro vibe going fast and a real phase 100 going slow in a stereo amp. That's how I built.
Okay.
So
I saw you had the 100 under there.
Yeah, the 100 and the, you might not be able to tell because you're only miking one cab, but, so that's the phase 100.
Yeah.
Sounds like something's rattling in there. But, so I have that blended with, a fast retro barb to kind of be like, you know, the fast spinning and then the slower spinning part.
Yeah.
So like to me, I enjoy that. There's plenty of ways to get a phaser out of all these other pedals, but there's something about phaser that when you get a digital one, I'm like, I'm not sure.
Yeah, there is something to that. Those old school, you know, phase 100s, phase 90s are just, they got it right the first time, and that's like 50-year-old technology.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, for like delays and reverbs, I'm pretty happy usually to use digital stuff. It doesn't, especially in a live context, I don't think it's a big deal. I did travel with full tone tape echoes for a while.
Ooh, man.
And you know, we'd be playing a festival and the tapes would just melt, and I'm like, okay, they're at home. I use them religiously, but not on tour anymore.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That makes sense. Now is this expression pedal there for your delays?
Okay, so
I want to hear a little bit of that if you.
So right now I have the H9. So a lot of time in between songs we'll leave a bit of like an ambient wall of sound. So I'll kick on the H9. Its primary function right now is this. It's just to like end a song, you know, end a big note.
Yeah.
I can just kind of leave that, grab a guitar, and then, you know, and then I can fade it out as someone else is ticking in the next song.
Oh, that's great. So it's like scene transition.
Yeah, and this is a kind of a cool. The roller feels kind of good instead of having another giant pedal there.
Yeah.
So that's the idea. I mean, it's complicated to be simple.
Right.
Trying to think what other new sounds there are here. It's mainly the integrating the envelope filter, and then and the doubling, which probably not going to be able to make out too much.
Is that the doubler there?
So that's actually the doubler, and the was the delay llama just on a slab.
Okay.
You'd have to have the other cab going to really hear the doubling sound that the Chroma console makes, but it's really nice. And then the classic stuff of just using the Pog. I mean, it sounds the same as the last Pog, but like I said, I can make sure I'm on the right preset. You can make wah sounds out of that thing. You can do low pass filters, all that stuff. But for me, it was just the screen. I'm like, great, I know which preset I'm on.
Yeah,
I use it on a song called Touch Me, I'm Gonna Scream Part 2. And this is a slightly different octave sound. But yeah, and this is just a fun thing to feel like you can make that giant dinosaur sound.
Sure, right. Yeah, God, it is huge. Yeah. Well, Carl, thanks so much for joining us today, man.
Thank you.
Have fun on this huge tour. It sounds like it's gonna be a good one.
It's gonna be fun.
All right.
Yeah, it was nice to see you.
Okay, now I'm with bass player Tom Blankenship. Tom, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, how did you get the middle slot? That's what I wonder.
Yeah. Jim and I have been doing this together for 26 years now, and he always has stood on stage left.
Yeah.
And had me in the center, though I would hide back there most of the time.
Sure.
For the first 20 or so years. So. And now I'm a little bit more confident.
Yeah, a little more confident.
Yeah. And put the pedal board up here and hide
quarter
it
of
back
a
there.
century in, a little more confident.
Finally.
That's great. Yeah, commanding post. You and Sting and Paul McCartney are the only bass players right in the center.
Yeah,
That's
and no
good.
mic stand.
Yeah.
Even stranger.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Makes it even cooler.
Yeah.
Well, let's start with this bass.
Yes.
You're not carrying a lot of instruments with you, right?
I'm not. No, and probably 90% of the show is played with this bass.
Okay, let's hear about it.
So my buddy Creston in Vermont made this for me a few years ago. PJ, classic PJ.
Yeah.
You can choose between, the middle is both pickups. There's a few times where I use both pickups, or I never use just the jazz bridge, but that was just an option because the bass that I was playing before was a vintage bass that was set up that way.
Yeah.
Again, I think I used it on a few songs where that's what I used on the record.
Sure.
But otherwise, just standard P bass. It's super lightweight. Creston's a good dude. This thing's been phenomenal. So.
Oh, that's great. And so, do you know what kind of wood it is? Everything like just kind of a standard?
Man, I cannot remember. I'm pretty
P-bass?
sure it's alder. Almost positive it is. That's all I can remember.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty simple dude.
Yeah, that's great. Well, isn't it amazing how they got it right the first time? Like
they really did.
P-bass, God, it's
perfect. Yeah, we were just working on the new record last year with Brendan O'Brien. And Brendan brought a few basses with him. One was a Hofner, which I used on one of the songs, half a song. But otherwise, he had his P bass. I had this one here at the studio, and he had a 65 or 66. And we would try a different bass on every song, and he's like, just use the P bass. I'm like, yeah. And the settings on the little DI were always the same. It's just like
when it's dialed in.
Forget it. Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
What strings are you running?
These are flats. These are GHS flats, like a lighter gauge. I was using the TI jazz flats for a while, which are great, but they don't have a lot of life.
Yeah.
They're good for like a tour, and then they
do they ever
kind
have
of
life?
sound funky.
Aren't they always kind of?
Well, yeah, no, that's true. Those were super bright, and this is a good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's strange. They were like a kind of like a half round in a way.
Yeah.
Anyway, the GHS flats. And flats are run on pretty much everything except for jazz bass.
So how long do you go between changing strings? Or just should I be asking Jimmy about that?
Yeah, you might ask Jimmy. Historically, actually I have a bass at home that I had flats on it in 2009 when I bought it, and I just changed them.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah, quite a while.
God, I remember I was doing a thing with Michael Rhodes, and he had these strings in the bass. He said he literally bought a bass that had these old flats on it just for the strings. And then you put them on.
Yeah. I have some basses like that at home where I'm like, I have no idea what they are, and they're just going to stay on there because I can't figure out. They're just right.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, and this back there is the backup?
That one's the jazz, which Creston also made. That one's even lighter than this one.
Oh, really?
It's crazy. And that is, now I cannot remember the wood, but that is like a salvaged.
Oh, really?
Like I have another bass over there that was like a beam from a house.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He works with a lot of wood like that, this old wood. But we did a couple records where At Dawn and It Still Moves, where I played a jazz, and so I still pull it out with the round wounds on it. And,
So you change during the set?
Yeah, but kind of rarely. Mostly just
if
this
you
guy.
feel like
if
it.
I feel like it.
Okay. Well, good. That's great. Now let's talk amps back there.
Yes.
Amps and cabs.
Yep. So those Emperor cabs are new as of yesterday. We just started using them. They're great. In fact, everybody had to turn down the bass in their ears, so quite efficient. Mesa I've been playing on and off for years. I used to have those big 400 plus heads, all tube. And then I switched to some old Ampeg V4Bs, like from the 70s, which aren't necessarily that great on the road. They always have issues.
A little cranky.
Yeah, a little cranky. And then thanks to Mesa's relationship with Gibson, I was able to get these heads, and which is great. They're hybrids. They're super light, and they sound good.
Yeah. When you were just warming up a little bit and you hit that, it's like I thought the rafters were going to cave in.
Right.
So,
it was pretty loud.
it was so.
Yeah.
It's just so omnipresent.
Well, and I wasn't used to that before. I'd been using the same Ampeg cabs for well over a decade. I'm sure they were worn out. But also, like, literally, I could stand next to it and I couldn't hear it.
Really?
Yeah. So the head is the same setting, all the same settings, but I can finally hear myself.
Well, there's no missing them now.
No, not at all.
Yeah. You were cutting through the mix.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk about the final ingredient.
Yes.
Your pedal board.
Yeah.
So if you can, just take me through the whole string.
Sure. There is a compressor, which I use for like anything that's palm muted. I put that guy on. So there's a song on the new record called Beginning from the End, which was played on the Hofner. And so to get more just like that attack, more of a thunk.
Sure.
That's what I use it for. Touch Me Too. That's what I use it for. I used to use a clean boost and switched to this and have been super happy with it.
Yeah, the Cali 76. That's great.
Yeah, which could be on all the time. Depending on the settings, you could just have it on all the time.
Sure.
It'd be great. What else do we have? Rusty Box is new. I always have some kind of.
What does that thing do?
So it's a trainer, the preamp from a trainer, essentially.
Oh, okay.
Which is cool because back in the day when I used to always play round wound strings, I love the sound of like those round wounds, and I played really, really hard in a way that it just isn't sustainable. But when you're in your 20s, that's you don't know any better. That's the way you play.
Sure.
But it had like a kind of like a cool overdriven sound. So I've tried to replicate it with various overdrive pedals. But this as a preamp has been really good for that. Now I got to remember where it is. So it beats for you. We have a live version from Okanokos, which is literally me just like beating the bass up through that all tube head.
Yeah.
So
that kind of duplicates it. Yeah. That's
yeah,
great.
yeah. And then it does have like a more overdriven sound, which I use for. We have a song called Run Through, and we snuck a bass solo into it. So I do like. So it's kind of like my tribute to Cliff Burton that I put in the middle of the song.
Sure, that's cool.
Which I'm always trying to sneak into it. But that's kind of cool. There's a fuzz, because years ago I only had one pedal on my board. Or I had a tuner, and I think I had a Rat that I used occasionally, but I had one of those big box Electro-Harmonics microsynths.
Oh yeah,
bass microsynths.
Sure.
And they're great, but they take up a lot of real estate on the board.
Yeah.
And if you step on them, the little faders break off, because they were plastic. So I kind of split that pedal into a couple different ones. The square wave, I now use a fuzz. The sub-octave, I use this MXR. And also it keeps me from like having to go down and like figure out the settings in between songs. So
sure, the
fuzz kind of does the square wave thing, which is mostly just classic fuzz sound. It's more solo stuff that happens in some of the songs.
Sure.
So yeah, that guy. And then the sub is for There's only a couple of songs I use that, like Evil Urges, I think at the beginning of the song it has like a...
So is that how you use it normally, pretty judiciously, like one note at a time?
Yeah, it would just be like little sections. But yeah, there's not a lot of songs where they're just on.
Yeah.
Yeah, through the whole song.
pretty big.
Unless it's the Rusty Box where it's just like a little bit of grit.
Sure.
And then the bass balls I use in conjunction with the fuzz, because if it's on its overdrive, I think, wait, let's see if I can do it. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, it's not doing it now, but it sounds like a wah. But something's going on with the fuzz, unfortunately.
It only happens when you're on camera.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. But, and I use that for Touch Me Part 2 at the beginning of the song. Jim's playing an omnichord, and I kind of like play along with him doing these like bullfrog kind of sounds.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, now that I think about it, some of it just sounds like I'm just having fun on stage while everybody else is being a serious musician, which is okay.
Yeah, sure.
That's the role of the bass sometimes.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Now, how much time do you spend on the pick and your fingers? It seems like you kind of go between them.
It's mostly fingers, which is just more natural for me. Even like playing guitar, I usually finger pick. And then I use a pick for the palm muting stuff. Yeah.
What picks do you use?
These are these purple guys.
Oh yeah, the Jim Dunlop.
Yeah, the Dunlops.
Yeah.
And now I can't remember exactly, but it's the one that's
Tortex,
typically purple Tortex. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And there you go. That's
there you
just simple.
Well, Tom, hey man, thank you for seeing us today.
Thanks for having me.
It sounds like you guys are gearing up for a huge tour, so
yeah.
y'all catch them on the road.